Loaded the nicest Nissan, I almost said Lexus, Nissan available. But you have to get through this without crying to get it.
Oh, that car's mine.
All right,
Go and
so,
pull it in.
here you go.
Stick it to my house.
Open this up.
You open that up.
And have to guess what?
Wait, I'm sorry.
The way it works, you can either take that or the.
Yeah, the car. Exactly.
You can have your turn later.
Exactly. That is the way it works. Or door number 6.
Yeah.
Sorry, but that affects me.
On my birthday, you didn't come on my birthday.
Isn't that nice?
Yeah.
That is fantastic.
Isn't it?
Hard to
See,
wait
it's
to hang
a
it.
24 by 36 picture frame. So, what goes in that picture frame though is, so, Paw Paw, this will be news to a lot of you all, but he had a paper route when he was young. You probably never heard of that. But with that paper route, this is, so this right here was his paper route. So he is gonna tell us about what time he started. This right here, my lovely assistant, LG, is making notes. So we're gonna have a timeline that'll go right there. So bullet points and all that. But so this right here was his house. And this is where Evie Grace got her curly hair.
Yes, it
And
is.
that was him. And that's the living room that they did during Christmas. But Linda's gonna, so Linda, tell them about what happened every Sunday.
Okay, well,
Lost the car, by the way. Car's gone.
Oh, is it going? Oh,
Yeah.
the card. Okay. Well, before the boys were born, and it was just Mimi, Papa, Diane, and I.
You mean the good old days?
no.
Yeah. We, especially if the weather was nice, we would pull out of Woodmont Christian Church every Sunday, and we would go one of two places. We would either go to Trayu
I'm gonna go get
to visit Papa's great grandmother, or we would ride Papa's entire paper route. So we would leave Woodmont, and he went.
It matters. It's still videoing.
It's okay.
He went from. Y'all will not believe how far he went on this paper route, starting when he
Well,
was
you will believe because there's a map on it.
11. And he would take us on the whole paper route, and he would tell us stories about different houses. And Diane and I we knew where he went in and stood on the radiator to get warm because, he did freeze to his bike one time.
We knew the one that didn't pay.
We knew who
Well,
didn't
don't
pay
steal his
him.
thunder. He's got to tell those. You just don't
And
remind him.
he would tell us the whole story. Well, by the time Bill and Steve were born, when we left Woodmont, I was going to sorority meeting. Diane was going to probably practice piano. The boys were going to practice, so we didn't do that anymore. So the boys didn't really know his paper route. So anyway, we knew it well, but now he's going to show
All
it, or
right,
hopefully.
So what time would it start every morning?
5 o'clock.
And what would you do at 5 o'clock?
Go down and get on my bike and go up to get the paper.
Golly, I forgot the paper. He was going to roll paper. Do y'all have a newspaper? Okay, never mind. That'll be next Christmas. Next Christmas, he'll roll a paper for us.
It's all online now.
Picnic paper right here.
Oh, yeah, there we go. Right on cue. All right, so this is how he would roll paper.
Well, back then, they weren't as big as they are today.
Can I take off my shoes? Yeah.
So you'd go at 5:30, and where would you go pick him up?
Up at,
Oh, you're good at that.
Wow, no,
Can
you're
I-
good at
I can fetch them.
So where'd you go pick him up? At what house or what location?
The Herberts, there were 3 of them that owned houses. There was a senior Herberts, Herbert Building Supplies, you know what I'm talking about? All right, okay.
That's on my day.
Anyway, the family lived right in there, and it was at the corner of their house, at Woodlawn and, what's the name, that's the street over from us, from Canfield.
Wilson.
No, over towards the other way. Linwood?
Yeah. And there was,
Linwood. Well, up at the end of Woodlawn and Wood. All right.
now, what about, you said that, so his dad passed away when you were how old?
11.
And so they had financially opportunities to overcome. So you had to be 12 to get your paper route. So what'd you do?
I worked, got part of the paper out, but the guy let me have part of the paper out till I turned 12, and then he gave me the whole paper out. But you could
But
pass
you were
it on.
sitting on a what's it called? On a what? A live, what's that thing? You were sitting on a throne of lies. Because what'd you tell the man? You told him you were 12, but you were really.
Ah, you're right. I wasn't gonna tell all that, right?
Because you were just 11 and a half.
That's right.
He had to tell, but he told him that he was 12 so he could get the. Now, when would you go pick up your money? Because people,
Every Saturday morning.
and some people wouldn't pay you.
Well, if they didn't, I got back to them, some, Franklin Jarman was the worst.
Who?
Franklin Jarman.
Oh, Janesco.
Janesco.
So he had the most money. So when would you go get his money?
When I found him had a company at his house sometime.
Because you know he was maybe dipping into you. That's good. Now,
Well, it would, I couldn't let it go more than 4 weeks, so I would go, at the end of 4 weeks, if he hadn't paid me, I'd really bang on that door. Cause you had to pay for your papers every week.
oh, to get your other ones.
Yeah.
So you had you had to be there at 5:30. When would you? And you had to be at school at what time?
I guess 8 o'clock. We lived,
Dang.
but we lived right across from Woodmont Grammar School, so.
And then you would get home and you'd have to do the whole thing again. Yes, afternoon route.
Had afternoon route, got home off a school bus and then went up and, I think it was around 3 o'clock or 3:15. It carried the same route, but back then it was 2 newspapers.
How much did a newspaper cost back then?
I don't think more than 20 cents, but I don't remember exactly. Around 20, 25 cents.
It ain't gone up a whole lot.
If it was that much, I can't,
I don't think it was.
I think around 20 cents.
So, but then what year you couldn't play football because you're doing this? But then one year you did.
My, let's get sentimental a bit.
Well, it's working then. I got the car.
John took over my junior, and I still carried the morning route, but John took the route in the afternoon, starting my junior year, and Mr. Hesse, Coach Hesse let me come out for football, and I played football and baseball.
But you got to start in.
Yeah, I was center
John
and
being his
the
brother.
linebacker.
Back then, center was kind of like
Yeah.
quarterback. 'Cause you,
Yeah.
Okay.
But let me share this, just since we're doing all the fundamentals. My daddy was the real athlete. He went to VGA and then transferred to play college football and went to Massey Military School in Pulaski. And he had scholarships for Vanderbilt, Alabama, and Ole Miss, I'm told. These two men that went there and went on to play at Vanderbilt, Purple Maples and Bill Bryant, would take me to lunch and tell me about Daddy playing football. But he met Mother at Martin College. Hope this is interesting, everybody. To Martin College, and they used to hide notes under a rock where swapping back seeing each other. But he fell in love with Mother and gave up college in order to marry Mother.
You couldn't go to college and be married.
Mother was a,
You didn't play sports, I don't think, back then.
no, he played sports at Massey, that's why.
I know, but I mean, he couldn't have been married and played it.
You couldn't, that's why you could be married, that's right.
All right. So when did you? So you played. Oh, I know. So you were saying sometimes when you were sick, what would Meyer do for you?
Oh, with Merriman included, if you don't give me the whole story. John, so everybody understands, John was a baby and spoiled, but he was 5 years younger than me, so he didn't come along.
No, there's nothing wrong with the baby of the family, right, Kathy?
But what would happen
Of age.
with me, when it was snowing or bad, or raining real bad, Mother would take me on the route and then go to work after we got home. But then when I was sick sometime and couldn't even, really sick, I would lay in the back seat of the car and roll the papers and tell my sister, and Mary would, oh, well, do this.
Well, you ain't gonna pawn it off on me this time.
You can do it.
That's where I get it. He stayed out too late the night before when he was sick.
No, I didn't do that. Anyway, Mary would I'd tell her where to throw the papers. But the other thing, Mary was the backbone of our family. I love my mother, but Mary kept us all together. So Mary would, when the weather was bad, she would get rubber boots. I remember those, and she would take part of my route, so I wouldn't have to be out so long in the weather. Or in the cold winter time, she would get up at 5 o'clock and she'd be there at 3 o'clock but she couldn't the latter part. She was the athlete. John always thought he was, but Mary was all city basketball, and so Mary in college played basketball. And she in high school, and she was all city in basketball.
All right, so when it was really cold, where would you stop? Who would give you hot chocolate? And Linda, what was that? When it was really cold.
Miss Clark's mother, what was it?
Cassidy.
Miss
Miss
Cassidy
And what
would
they
let
do
her
for a
come
living?
in.
Cole Cassidy come in. They were good friends of Mother Daddy's at Blakeville Methodist.
And she would let you come in
Yeah,
and
Miss-
warm up and.
Yeah, Miss Bishop did the same thing.
And then
Art,
tell
yeah.
them about the little place over near Old Richland. It was kind of a
Oh,
shack
oh,
place.
what was the bootleg place?
That's good. That's what I was trying to get you to.
And it was a dead end route up beside the Richland golf course, but it was a dead end. I had to stop at the railroad track, so I had to turn around and come back. But I would stop and warm up many times in the afternoon. But it was where they bootleg push what it was. Back then, it was, they didn't have anything. It was a big business for them. So anyway, wasn't it?
So, all right. So, also one time it took you a long time, so you didn't show up, and Aunt Miriam and
Oh, Mother used to love to tell that.
it got better every time you told me.
Yeah. Well, I actually, it was real, back then, we had a lot of snow, and that particular time, I had that long route, and you really couldn't hardly ride your bike, but you had to go deliver the papers, so somewhere in the route, actually, they tell me I was really frozen to the bike. I don't think I was, but I was cold, and Mother Mary came and found me and thought me out and I went to school.
All right. This will be the last question. It'll be the hardest for you to get through, but you can do this. Tell them how you got it and what y'all used for Christmas money, for presents.
Okay.
What part of me saying you can get through this did you not understand?
Well, there's a lot of people, because of where we lived and where my route was, a lot of people knew who we were. So there were certain families, so right before Christmas, we had little cards we'd carry around, and I sent this guy, he left in the paper the other morning, remind me, so I mailed him a check. The people would give us, I'd knock on the door with his Christmas card, and they would give us money for Christmas. John would take part of that sometimes and help me out with that. But they would wait until we found out, this is the truth, I know it sounds like, but we had a great
I hope
time.
all this is true.
Well, I'm just trying to say, we came in, they would wait till I came in and John, and we'd put all the money on the living room floor to see
Which is this same living room floor, right?
how much money we got, and that was our Christmas. Then Mother knew that's what we could spend for Christmas. But the people were good to us, like
But
Miss
they dumped
Bishop,
it all in the middle of the
Miss
floor.
Cassidy back then $20 was a lot of money, and they would
A
give
lot
us
of money today.
they would give us $20 bills. So we always had a good time.
Diane or Linda, y'all anything, questions or situation you want to add or ask them? Or Bill, you and I didn't know anything about
Can
it.
you look at the map and know where
Yeah.
stuff
Yeah,
is?
we want you to highlight your route.
Well,
We want somebody else to highlight it. But you can tell us.
somebody's house you went to?
how old was I when y'all rented the limo and took me around?
Yeah.
It was your, I
70.
think, was it 70?
70th. So we have that, but can you see all that or you need
Right.
glasses?
Well, this
This is the map.
Yeah.
right here.
We can't see
We'll have to
him.
put it on
Oh,
the
let me-
table. What we'll probably need to do, Steve, is lay it down on the
Let me
table.
tell you one little story, why, if family didn't tell the history, that I remember, and it's sentimental saying this, but, it was in January, and mother went to the hospital to get dad. We had built this, dad built this, well, really, he was involved on Cantrell Avenue. So, he got pneumonia, and was in the hospital, and mother went to the hospital to get him and found out he had passed away that night. So they put her to bed in the hospital instead of shop. And so reason I'm telling this, and I'm getting it was in January, and I'm getting ready to go out, and we had sleds, and Cantrell Avenue back then was dead end, and that's where everybody went, Big Hill. So I was walking out, got my sled, was starting out the driveway, and Dorothy Dickey drove up and said, "Come on back in." And I went inside, and this reminded me of this right here. I'm standing over the register when she told us Daddy wouldn't be coming home.
And then your mom couldn't get out of bed, but what'd you go tell your mom?
He got down on his knees
Well,
by her bed. This is what she told me. Okay.
And I'm not sure you can get through this, so I'm not gonna say it, cause this is really touching.
You might have to say it, Steve.
So,
want me to
he,
tell
I'll
Or
give you-
Mimi said she could tell.
Let Mimi tell it.
I came home, we came, Mary, John didn't go to the funeral, but they brought Mary and I home, and I got another story I'll tell later, but we came home and mother was in bed upstairs in Mary's bedroom because, I don't know, I'm sure because they didn't want her in the bedroom where Daddy packed, that was their room downstairs, so we had two bedrooms upstairs, John and I shared one, and Mary had hers. So, mother was in bed, and they had talked about farming us out. Because mother had never worked, there was no way she was gonna could raise these three children. So, in saying that, they tell me, and God works through us, y'all all know that. And you look back and see how God spoke for you when you didn't know what you were gonna say, and that's been true in my life. So what I'm saying is, they tell me that I got on my knees and told Mom, if you get out of this bed, we can make it. And she said, because of that, she got up and we made it.
you darn right you did, so thank you. Thank you for making it. So, that's when you went and got the paper route, not long after.
But I got the paper, yeah, right after this, when I got.
But you said you had another story that reminded you, what was that?
But all of y'all know how. Kathy, I got you ring at that time.
You're right, Kathy, right.
Is going back to things you never forget. And y'all are gonna see this as you get older, you'll look back and see different things that happened. But what I'm sharing with some reason, and this is why it's just a great memory to me. My uncle took me down to the mother, Daddy's buried in mother, and all the whole family triune. This was in January, and he takes me down there with him to pick out we had a Johnson plot there, and which way they wanted the grave to be. And there were three men from the farm, Fred, Tom, and Perk. And I used to go there before Daddy died. I would go into some and hide. I didn't want to come home because I had my own pony and all that. So what I'm sharing with y'all, my daddy, is what I think highly of him. And it came out later. The man from Nashville, Marshall Funeral Home, was a friend of Dad's, was there to dig the grave. And for some reason, I was there, and these men, one of them spoke and said, nobody's digging this grave, and this ground is frozen. Nobody's digging this grave but us. He's my buddy or something. And they
Three
done-
guys that work for you on the farm.
On the farm, they grew up on the farm with
Wow.
Daddy.
Wow.
You want me to show the route, or how do you?
Yeah.
Okay, wait, can I say one more thing?
Yeah.
So every Friday night when Aunt Di and I, kind of his voice came into the world, things change, but every Friday night, we ate dinner at Myra's. And,
We get carrot sticks and out of the.
Ella Mae
Yes.
was there. Ella Mae would make dinner. She made Daddy's favorite salad all the time, which is grapefruit and avocados with French dressing. But anyway, Myra's house was not huge, but I would pack my suitcase and put it in the back seat just in case she asked me to spend the night. Because we love being there. That house had just lots of memories, but we loved.
I loved it.
Go in there.
And then going later, like if all this furniture was there, Myra would put underneath every piece of furniture somebody's name on it. So that's who she's living to.
So we all got.
And
what
it's
Myra
been,
was.
I don't know how old she'd be today, but maybe 100 and something. And not a single one has Steve Johnson on it yet.
You were out playing ball. You weren't showing up for the.
But you know, the fun thing is too, we later as a family got to go live in that house. Because Mom and Dad bought the house on Tynewood and sold the house on Villa Green, and we couldn't get into Tynewood yet. So we went and lived at Myra's for 3 months.
Wow.
And so we got to actually live in that house
We had 1 bathroom, 2 bedrooms, and Kathy Cummins came and lived with us too. So.
because she was renting out the upstairs. So the 2 bedrooms and the kitchen and the bathroom upstairs were rented out to a lady. And Mother used to make me come home from school and practice the piano before Sandy got home from work.
Well, one of the big things that, it was World War II, it was a big thing for us in staying there. Back then, they didn't have motels and all, so, and they had a classification center over on Thompson Lane, huge, during World War II, and these men would be coming there to go through and be classified. And a lot of them were married, and they would bring their wives, but there was nowhere for them to stay, and they rented out, people started renting out their rooms for these wives to stay and see them on the weekends. Well, we rented out the 2 downstairs bedrooms, bedrooms downstairs, and we lived upstairs. And they would have we'd take turns. They either got done at night first, or we did, and we would swap. But that was a big revenue that we needed doing. But I want to share one last thing. I hope it's my last, but I'm saying this in a way of not being boring. My mother. Apply, and he gave, reason I went to Austin P, I ran the bookstore and I worked in the library, but I was on the government payroll. I mean, it was Tennessee owned Austin P, and so it was, Harvard really took care of me, and I didn't earn this, it's just sharing what happens to you. My junior year in college, they picked somebody from the National Manufacturer of America, whatever it is. They picked 1 student from each state, and Howard, he was a big politician, so I got picked to go to New York, and I never got on a train and a Pullman car, and I was scared to death. That whole was going on. But what I'm saying is, Austin P turned out good for me, but without that job, John worked his way through it. Well, he borrowed it anyway. He made it at Swanee. But the point is, Mary Emily made it at Peabody, but Mother's determination was we would get there. That's it.
We'll get LG to trace all that. All right. Well, thank you very much for sharing. And thanks for letting me get my truck out. I hadn't even designed it yet, so I kind of went out on a limb.
Okay, let me tell you one, you got a picture there that I had
Yeah.
on. It's in my bedroom.
Hand out some presents.
I had a dog named Dee that would be every morning and afternoon, would be there waiting for me to get on the bike. And he would go the whole route. He figured out how to, because he knew how to cut back through. But he was there every morning particularly.
What kind of dog was it?
Mutt.
D?
D.
Oh.
Enough said. Thank y'all for listening.
Anytime.
I want to share this. Thank you for my family. God has blessed us. And every day I say, God, thank you for each day of this life. And how blessed we are to have, like here today, how blessed we are that all of us could be together.
We didn't hear you. What'd you say now?
And
You're thankful for what?
other than Glenna putting up with Steve, I think things.
Oh,
will be
we can
great.
edit that part. Very good. All right, Sam, we're ready for presents.